Hello everybody, welcome to the final part of this blog. My name is Andrew Soderberg. I'm a student at Red Rocks Community College and a member of Galilee South Community Church in Littleton, Colorado. So as you probably will remember, part 1 and 2 gave some evidence supporting the idea that Christianity is declining in America. I just wanted to say something regarding that before we start. So there is a lot of evidence that supports the idea that Americans are falling away from Christianity, but very little exists to support the idea that Christianity globally is declining. Evidence actually exists that shows that it's increasing worldwide in a study done in 2013 by students at the Center for the Study of Global Christianity at Gordon Caldwell Theological Seminary. We see that they project approximately 2.6 billion Christians will be in the world by 2020, which is more than double the number of Christians in the world as of 1970. In an article written on U.S. News, we see that there are about 40 new churches being started in China per day, and that's not including underground churches, which are probably a large percentage of the churches that are actually started. So Christianity is decreasing in America, but globally, in its global context, it's still rising. So now I want to move on and talk about why I believe Americans are falling away from Christianity, and I also want to discuss why these aren't valid reasons for people to leave Christianity. I think they're really just cop-outs in the end, because when you start using logic and thinking about them, problems start arising. But I do think these are the things people are thinking when they fall away from the faith. So I think that one of the biggest contributing reasons to why Americans are falling away from Christianity is because of evolution. So many people assume that evolution is a proven fact, which, speaking from a scientific perspective, science can't prove anything. And if we kind of go into detail about this, we see that evolution really isn't science. So let me explain what I'm saying by that. So there's a man called Ray Comfort. Ray Comfort is a street evangelist and filmmaker from Australia. He does this video on YouTube called Evolution versus God, and we see him going to major professors at universities and asking them to give him a physical, observable example of a change of kinds. So he doesn't use the word species for a very specific reason. We have observed species adapting and changing into different species. However, they always stay as the same kind. So basically, Darwin's finches, we see that they evolved from one species of finch to maybe another species of finch, or one species of bird to another species of bird, but they never changed kinds from a bird to another creature. And that's what evolution claims. Evolution claims that eventually a creature will change from something very distinct, like a bird, into something distinctly different, like a reptile. Thing is, we have no evidence, either fossilized evidence or observable evidence that this is actually occurring. We do see it on a smaller scale, but it's very different from seeing it in between kinds, in different kinds. There's no evidence that exists for that. So basically, when people say that they believe evolution, they're accepting it mostly on faith, which makes people like Richard Dawkins crawl on their skin. One of his big quotes is, "Faith is a great cop-out to avoid the need to think effectively." The thing is, evolution is faith. There's so much faith involved in evolution, it's unbelievable. So I think a lot of Americans, they make this conclusion, evolution is taught in schools to be fact, to be this scientifically proven thing. Well, in reality, it's not. And there's a lot of debate regarding the evidence that they use to support their claims for evolution. And a lot of it can be taken to support even creationism, which is the belief that the world was created by a spiritual being, aka God, only like 10,000 years ago, approximately. So a lot of it comes down to interpretation of evidence, and it also comes down to faith. So I think that another reason a lot of people are deterred from Christianity and are falling away is because Christians oftentimes come across as hateful to other people they consider to be morally lower than themselves. There's a lot of problems with this idea and concept that a lot of Christians have of being morally higher than other people. Let me just say right off the bat that it is true that there are people like this, but Christianity does not teach this idea of hating people who are morally lower than you. In fact, it doesn't even make sense based on what the Bible teaches. So the whole premise of the Bible is that Jesus came to pay off people's debts for their sins, whether that be lying, stealing, hate, or murder. The key thing is you have to realize that you're a sinner. You have to admit your sin, and you can't just admit your sin. In that same video I referenced earlier, done by Ray Comfort, Evolution versus God, he talks with some people, students at a university, and asks them, "Hey, have you lied before? Have you stolen something before?" And they admitted that yes, we have. How many times? Oh, countless times. So you're a thief and a liar. And they're like, well, yeah, I guess you could call me a thief and a liar. So they're admitting that they're a thief and a liar. And they know that that's wrong in today's culture, but admitting it isn't enough to save them. In order to be saved, based on what the Bible says, you have to accept Jesus as paying your debt. You have to accept that debt. Sort of like a gift. People can offer you a gift, but in order for that gift to mean anything, you have to accept it. So the point I really want to make is that any Christian who, acts like they're higher and above everybody else because they're morally correct or whatever, they completely miss the point of Christianity and of the Bible, and that's that they are incapable of being good no matter what they do, and that they are not saved by what they do, but by what Jesus did for them. So it has nothing to do with them whatsoever. All they've done is accept a gift, but how hard is it to accept a gift? Anybody can do that. So that's kind of the point I want to make. Christians often do come across as hateful, but they shouldn't. Any Christian that does maybe has never read the Bible or just doesn't understand what it teaches. We never see Jesus showing hate towards people. He does show hate towards concepts and ideas, but he never hates people. And he generally hangs out in the Bible with the people that are kind of condemned by the culture of his time. We always say that Jesus hung out with the prostitutes and tax collectors of his time, and that's true. That's the people he was hanging out with, and that is actually what ended up, at least part of the reason of what got him killed when he was crucified, is that the chief priests of the Jewish culture, they said, oh, this guy, he says that he's God, and here he is hanging out with the people that we have condemned. So after thinking about this for quite some time now, I've kind of come to the conclusion that Americans are really just looking for cop-outs because they do not want to be morally accountable. Christianity requires some level of moral accountability and understanding of what is wrong and what is right, and trying to follow those laws. Not to say you're always going to be perfect at them, that completely misses the point. But it does require you to understand what is wrong, what is right, and to admit that those things are wrong and right, and to strive to improve yourself. So Americans don't want to have to do that. They want to be able to live the way they want to live. They want to be free to do whatever they want. So that's really the big issue. I think they're looking for any excuse to get out of being morally accountable. So that kind of wraps up my thought on this portion of the project. So thank you all, and goodbye.